Welcome to part one of your Origins project guide. In this video, we will be discussing kind of the general overview of what I am looking for in your project and how to start your project. So let's just go ahead and look at our project guide here. We've seen this before. We're going to scroll on down to what the requirements in the math section are. It says this: you will be creating a graph and written description of the town's or city's population over a span of 25 years. And what you'll be doing is you're going to be creating a spreadsheet and a graph. And as of by this video that's come out, you should have probably selected a town by now. And there are three things that you'll be doing. First, you'll be creating a spreadsheet and a graph, which is going to be due on October the 2nd. The second thing you will be doing is creating a written description of that information that is due on October the 9th. And then finally, you're going to have the final draft of all this put together. And what your final draft should look like is something like this. Okay, so your final project for me should be very similar to this. And what we're going to do in part one is we are going to discuss how to find the population of your town and how to graph it. That is what this video is about. So let's go ahead and begin. So here we are back in our math class. If you click on quarter projects, and then the first quarter project, you have a list of things. So the first off you should see is the Origin Project Guide, the Project Survey, which is something you should have done at this point in time, and then something that's called the Population Data Explorer. This website is where we're going to find out the population of the town that we are researching. So for this video, I'm actually going to do my hometown of Aurora, North Carolina, and I'm going to talk about its population. So once I'm at this website, I'm going to come over here to the left side and I see a section that says population. I'm going to click it. And it gives me right now, it gives me the population of the United States. If you can see, it's got it checked here, of the United States. But we don't want to know the United States. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to uncheck that box and I'm going to scroll down until I see North Carolina. Okay, here it is. But I'm not going to check the box. I'm going to come to the triangle and click it, and it's a pull down menu. And then I want to look for what it says, counties. So I'm going to click counties. And it's going to pull up all counties in North Carolina. There are 100 of them. And I'm going to look for the county that Aurora is in, and it's in Beaufort County. So I'm going to click Beaufort. And I'm going to look for my hometown. Well, since it's an A, it starts here. So I can do Aurora, North Carolina. Not Bath. I want Aurora. There we go. So Aurora, North Carolina. And now, as you look at the data here, it shows me population from, if we can highlight it with our mouse here, in 1990, I had a population of 668. And I can scroll down and look at each individual piece. And I'm going to go down all the way and just kind of show you that the most recent information is in 2018, where the population had 512. Now that I've got all this information right in front of me, what I want to do is I'm actually going to start putting this information in my own graph. So let's start working on that. So what you need to do is you need to go to your drive and you're going to go to New and you're going to go to Google Sheets. Once there, let's go ahead and name this spreadsheet to, I'm going to call it the population of Aurora. Can't spell, North Carolina. And I'm going to go ahead and share that with my team members, and I will share that with my team members, which would be Miss Andrews and Miss Harrington. So, all right, now that it's been shared, what we're going to do is we're going to take this information here and we're going to translate it into our own particular table. When we are creating a table of information, it needs what's called a title. So I'm actually going to do what's called a merge. So notice what I'm doing. I'm highlighting these two cells right here, and I'm going to press this button that says merge cells. And what that does is it takes those two cells that you just saw and it makes them one. And I'm going to give this a title. Let's say that the title of this is just going to be really simple. We're going to call it the population of Aurora, North Carolina, year by year. Okay, then that's a good title. But here's the issue. Notice that when I typed all that out, it cut it off. So what we want to do is we're going to do a format job. And we're going to format this so that it does what's called a text wrap. So I am going to hit format, and then it says down here, text wrapping, and I want you to click wrap. And when I do, it wraps it for us and it puts it all in one cell. And I like to use this button to center it. And because it's a title, I'm going to hit bold. Now, the next thing that we want to do is we want to have some columns. So our first column that we want to have is our year. And the next column that we want to have is the population. Okay. Now that I have that, I'm going to go ahead and center these as well, just so I have it. All right. So we're going to do the population of North Carolina over a span of 25 years. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with 1990. And I'm going to count by fives. I'm not going to do every year because I just don't really want to. I just want to do a small snippet over 25 years in 5-year time span. So 1990, let's do 1995. Then we'll do 2000, 2005, 2010, and then 2015. And I'm actually going to stop here. And the reason why I'm stopping at 2015 is that the most recent one that I have is in 2018. They do not have one for 2020 yet. So I'm just going to stop at 2015. And for consistency, I think that you guys, when you are doing your population of your town or city, you need to do the same thing. Just start with 1990 and count by fives all the way to 2015. Now that I've done that, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to find the population of Aurora in 1990. And so I'm going to go to my line graph and I'm going to highlight it. So when I put my mouse here, it says in 1990 I had 668. So we will do that, 668. And then we are going to find 1995, so this would be 1993. 1995 is 670. And I'm going to continue filling this chart out. All right, now that I've filled out the chart, I'm going to go ahead and center everything again. So I'm going to highlight all of my information. I'm going to come over here to my alignment button. I'm going to make sure that everything is centered. Okay, that looks nice. And then I'm going to actually put some lines around this to make this actually look like a proper chart. So if we go here, it's what we call borders. And this particular one, we click it, and then it gives us some options. I want all the borders filled in, so I'm just going to click it. And it makes it nice and neat, so all my borders are now done. Now that I've made my chart look better, what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to make a graph, and I'm going to be making what's called a line graph. So I'm going to highlight all of my information right here, and then I'm going to go to Insert, and then I'm going to go to what's called Chart. And automatically it pulls up a type of chart, and this is what we call a line chart. If you look over here, it says chart type. We can do all sorts of different things, but we are going to keep it simple and just call it line chart. Now, with that said, let's go through what this chart and what we see. On the x-axis, we have the years 1990 all the way through 2015, and it's counting by fives, and it says year. That's great. That's exactly what we want. We want year on the x-axis. And then on our y-axis, we have this, and then we have population written on the y-axis, which is what we need. So this so far is looking good. However, when I look at this, this has a chart title here is called population versus year. I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to copy and paste my, let's see, I'm going to copy and paste my title from my chart and actually into this line graph. And there we go. So I've got that done. So after I'm done with all this, what I can do now is I can format this even more to my own personal taste. So I'm going to kind of double click it, and when I do, it pulls up the chart editor, and as you can see, it says customize. So I'm going to kind of just walk you through each one that's kind of relevant to us for this particular thing. And first off, it says chart style. So this right here is basically the background color. So I can have an orange background color if I want. Can't really say that. I'm going to keep mine white. And then I can do a border color. I think I'll change mine to a black. Okay. So I like that. I like it. It's clean and simple for me. That's just a personal preference. However, you can change the border color and the background color to whatever you want, as long as you're able to read the chart clearly. All right. And that's a big thing. It needs to be where you can read the chart clearly. So let's now look at chart and axis titles. So if you look here, there's a couple of things. It says chart title, and if we click it, it gives us to the chart subtitle, horizontal axis, vertical axis. So let's just talk about the chart title right now. I like this, but I'm going to actually make this chart title bold, and I like my chart titles to be centered. Okay, that looks professional to me. So it's been centered. And then what I can also do is I don't have any subtitles, but I do have the horizontal axis, which is also known as the x-axis. I'm going to bold it. And then I'm going to look at my vertical axis, the y-axis, and I'm going to bold it. So I like the way that looks. It looks a little bit nice and clean. All right, and again, adjust to your personal preference as long as it's legible here. Let's look at series. And series, what series is, it's basically talking about this line that you see. It's also talking about the data points. So if you notice, you might not be able to see it on YouTube, but there's a little teeny tiny circle where at 1990, and that circle that you see is actually represents the 668. So that's what the series is. It's just talking about this data point. So I'm going to change the color to red. I like that better. It's just a little bit brighter. And I just feel like I would rather have it dotted. So I'm going to have it dotted. And what I could also do is I can actually make it really thick if I wanted to, or I can make it really thin. I'll keep it at 2 points. This looks nice. And then there's something that's called point size. So right now my point size says none, but I'm going to put a point there. And notice that these points here, this is where those circles were that I was talking to you about. They're a little bit more bold now. So this is the actual data points that are on your chart. And again, we can make that as wide as we need it. But for mine, I'm going to have it at none. You can have points if you want to. That's okay. It is a personal preference on that. And I could go through these other things, a legend. There's not needed. Horizontal axis, I can go into a little bit more, and that's fine. So you can play around with this, but for the most part, this is it. This is what I want. This is exactly what I want right here, and I am happy with it. So now that I've got my chart done and my line graph done, the only thing that I need for this particular part of my assignment is just my group members. So I'm going to put those in right now. So I've got my group members in, and I am going to turn this assignment in. And what I will do is I'm going to go to File, Download, and then I'm going to download a PDF. And it should look like this. And you should not have to do anything to it. You don't have to do any adjusting of the page or anything. Just hit export. All right, now that I've done that, My job is to turn it in. So what we'll do is you'll go back to your first quarter projects, you'll go to your first draft, and not that, but we will click it. And this is what you're going to do. So just like normal, you'll have a little submission bar over here. You'll click it and then you'll put that in there. But before you do, I want you to make sure that you're taking a look at the rubric. So for this assignment, this is how I'm going to grade you. I'm going to grade you on your chart title. I'm going to grade you on the chart data, the chart format, and the line graph title and axis titles, line graph format, group members, and whether it's late or not. So you can pause the video and kind of look through this. For the sake of the length of this video, I'm not going to read this rubric to you. However, if you've got a question on this rubric of how I'm grading this first part of your project, you need to let me know. All right, and just like always, once you finish this, submit it like you always do, and this assignment will be done. And you should see part 2 coming probably in the next day or so about the second piece of it, which is the written description of the population of your town or city. And that's it for this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.